Hello friends, today we will discuss about some new topic, Maritime Labour Convention 2006. This is a combined effort of IMO and Labour Convention, International Labour Organization. So this MLC, this is also called MLC. This MLC is also known as fourth pillar of IMO. Why? Because it has already made very big impact in IMO and the seafarers' life. So I told you this is fourth pillar. Okay. What all are the other conventions uh, that became the part of IMO? That those are SOLAS and MARPOL and STCW, and the fourth one is MLC. The main idea of MLC is for the well-being of personnel working on board and to provide good living condition. Okay, good living condition, well-being. Okay, and to ensure that seafarers' rights are protected. Sorry. Rights are protected, and to make sure that seafarers are not exploited. Okay, and and also to make sure that they have been treated properly. Treated properly means they must be given very good living condition and good provide good working atmosphere. Basically they are not supposed to be tortured by mental pressure or work pressure. Okay? And these all are the main idea of having MLC convention. Now the MLC is having four parts. Okay, MLC you can divide it into four parts. One of this is articles and regulations, and another one is Code A, and another one is Code B. Okay, this Code A is mandatory because whatever things mentioned in Code A is mandatory, and the ship owner or the ship's management team must follow all the things mentioned in mandatory section of Code A, and whatever things given in Code B is non-mandatory, but it also give a guidance for implementing all the things mentioned in Code A. Okay, this is non-mandatory. Okay, but it gives guidance. Okay, so these are the four parts of MLC. Understood? Now we discuss the chapters of the codes. Okay, this mandatory code. This code A is divided into four chapters. So in the MLC it is mentioned as titles. Okay, not four. This code is divided into five titles, 1 to 5. Okay, so we will discuss title 1 to 5. Okay, the title 1 says the minimum requirement to work on ship, that is okay, minimum requirement for working on board ship. Okay, so for a seafarer to work on board ship, his age must be above 16 years old. Okay, so age greater than 16 years. Okay, Okay, and if any cadet or a trainee seafarers whose age is more than 16 years, if it is less than 18 years, okay, if it is less than 18 years, then that person cannot be, okay, working during night time. Okay, understood. So if you have a cadet or a trainee voice on board, you cannot send him to do any work on deck during night time. Okay, so this night time is considered as 2100 to 0500 hours. Okay, this period of time is considered as night time. The second title is, before going to second title, there are certain other minimum requirements are to work on board ship. This is the age criteria, and another one is that properly trained and must have a familiarization certificate. Okay, certificate familiarization certificate regarding the dangerous goods or type of the ship which is going to employ. And another thing is he is medically fit. Okay, that person must be medically fit. So what all before we joining, what all things we check is actually a part of MLC. Seafarer must be medically fit. He must have all the relevant course certificates like HCCW. All this comes with a minimum requirement to work on board ship. The person must have CDC, okay, minimum requirement to work on board ship, and he must sign an agreement or agreement with the company. Okay, all and basic seamanship knowledge and all the things must be there. Now we discuss about title 2. This title discuss about the conditions of employment. Okay, now what all are the conditions of the employment? Okay, so if a seafarer is employed on the ship, then there are certain conditions where he must follow. Okay, so among there are lots of conditions, but this title is mainly highlighting about the working hour and rest hours. Okay, so the main point about this condition is working hours. Okay, one day, that is in 24 hours, one seafarer can work for a maximum of 14 hours. Okay, 14 hours out of 24 hours. Okay, in total 24 hours, 14 hours he can work. That is the maximum work he can be given by the ship's officer or higher authority. Okay, he is not allowed to do a work more than 14 hours. Okay, and that is in 24 hours. Okay, working hours in a week, that means 7 days, means he he can do a maximum working hours of 72 hours out of 7 days. This is the maximum work you can give to seafarers. Okay, so this working hours is as per you. You can split it into whichever way you want, but make sure that the rest hour of the seafarer is complied. Okay, so talking to the rest hours. Okay, the rest hours. The seafarer must be provided of minimum 10 hours of rest out of 24 hours. Matlab means one day he should get minimum 10 hours of rest. This 10 hours can be split into uh, uh, two rest hours. Okay, you cannot split this 10 hours into more than two. Okay, so while splitting this 10 hours, one of the split must be 6 hours. So obviously the remaining split is 4 hours. So you can give a seafarer resting hour period of 6 hours, then you can call him for a work. Then you must give him a rest hours of minimum 4 hours within that 24 hours. Okay, after given a rest of 4 hours and total of 10 hours rest in one day, then only you can call him out for work on the next day. Okay, so in 7 days, the seafarer must be provided with 77 hours out of 7 days. Okay, this is the minimum rest hours the seafarers must be provided. This much rest hour is his right. Okay, this is his right. Okay, nobody can take this right away from him. Okay, the maximum working hour, this is also his right. Okay, you cannot force a seafarer to work more than 14 hours a day. This is his right. And similarly, this is also his right. You cannot ask a seafarer to work for more than 72 hours in a week. This is also his right. So the seafarer must know about his rights. This is one of the main idea of implementation of MLC convention. Okay, so the condition of employment, the working, this is the working time periods. The conditions also state there are some topics like uh, uh, safe environment. Okay, safe tools, uh, working culture. Okay, and all the risk assessment methods, all the risk assessment to make sure that seafarer who is engaged in working will not risk his life in danger. So these all are the conditions must be followed while working. Okay, these are called this is called condition of employment, title 2. Now we will discuss about the title 3. So title 3 deals with accommodation, recreation, food and catering. Okay, so now because of the MLC convention, now all the seafarers are treated with respect by the ship owner and the shipping company. Now earlier the ship owner create when a ship owner builds a ship, he wants to get maximum revenue out of the ship, so he create bigger cargo carrying area and smaller accommodation. So now because of this MLC, that is not possible. Each seafarer must be provided with independent rooms or cabin. Okay, no tin sharing is allowed. Means you cannot put two seafarer in one room. Okay. This is applicable even for cadet. Okay, so and another thing is plus attached toilet. Okay, so a seafarer after working hard hours in the deck and engine room or all the other working spaces, the his cabin, his accommodation is the only place he is getting some rest and peace of mind. So he is missing his family and everything, and he wants to compensate all those his worries by providing a good comfort accommodation for him. So that is what the MLC is trying to achieve by bringing up the Title 3 accommodation. Now, to relieve his tension and stress and also for entertainment, some recreation must be provided for the seafarers to motivate their daily life and to keep up a good face with their psychology. The recreational equipments like table tennis, gym, okay, and movies, books library, okay, and in now the other recently they also added internet, emails was there already, okay, emails, okay. If any of this internet or emails or any of this new movies are not available, whenever any port comes, the ship's captain must organize, okay, and organize conveyance in port from time to time, okay. Okay, so these recreation must be provided by the ship owner. Now the ship owner cannot say, I am not interested in the recreation of the seafarer, I am only interested in the for them to get work. Okay, now he cannot say like that. Now he has to give all this recreation, not limited to this I am just only explaining only this a little bit here for moral support of the seafarer. He must give recreations, okay, and the food and catering. There is a saying that well well fed crew is happy crew, right? If you had a very good food, you will obviously feel happy, and a ship full of happy crew means the ship is also happy, and the energy of the crew will give more efficiency towards the work, okay. So to get a well-fed crew, you must the ship owner or the management agencies or management team must provide good food, right? So good food means you cannot do any cost cutting related to food. That doesn't mean that luxury. Okay, you don't have to order luxury food for the crew, but you must order some kind of minimum, okay, uh, not saying very cheap, but must provide a good nutritious, okay, good nutritious food, okay, that you must provide. You cannot do cost cutting on the nutritious food, okay. The crew needs that nutritious food, because first of all, out at sea you are not going, the crew is not going to get vegetables throughout the day. The vegetables will be stored whenever the ship is arriving at port, and it will be last for hardly a week or two. Rest all times the ship crew will be eating the frozen meat items, okay. So this frozen meat item is only food. So you cannot do any cost cutting on the meat or chicken or mutton or pork, everything. You cannot do a cost cutting because it is so expensive. You will give some cheap quality meat, null, like that, okay. You cannot do that. And the person who is cooking the food and providing this food to crew must be trained. Yes, trained cook, okay. So title 3 say talks about accommodation, recreation, food and catering, okay. Accommodation, not ensuring even cadet cannot share cabins with someone else. Attached toilet, but this attached toilet, okay, there are some provision. If there is an attached toilet, sorry, no, common toilet, if a common toilet, okay, there are certain other requirements must be followed, okay. And another thing about the accommodation, the height of the accommodation, okay. In each deck there must be a minimum height the during shipbuilding between each deck must be followed, so that the crew must get enough room in and inside the accommodation. He should not be feeling like I am entered in a confined space, okay. Okay, that is all about title 3. Now we talk about title 4, that is medical and social protection, okay. Now what is about this medical and social protection, okay. So as a seafarer, out at sea, the seafarer is always exposed to very dangerous situation. So in from this dangerous situation, there are the seafarers will take lots of risk assessment and all the mitigation methods to avoid any danger or harm to his body or health. But sometimes in case an accident happens, so he may become unfit for work, okay. So during that time, during the period of unfit time, he must be given a proper medical care, okay. Proper, okay. This expense of this medical care has to be taken by the owner, okay. When the ship crew is employed on his ship, during his tenure, if anything happens, any medical emergency happen to uh, seafarer, the expense must be taken by the owner, and the owner must have a certificate. Owner must possess a certificate, like a financial responsibility certificate, to make sure that he can cover all the all the medical expenses related to any claims and all the other things. Okay, so owner must have a financial security certificate. Okay, and there are in the medical earlier in the medical insurance and all the other things happened. Even the health insurance do not provide any dental or something related to our eyes. Now these two things are also included in the medical care. Okay, so the social security numbers or the identity numbers, everything has to be provided for the seafarer. Now we talk about title 5. Now title 5 is compliance. Compliance and enforcement. Okay, so now what is this compliance and enforcement? So the seafarer or the ship owner has to comply with the MLC. So the responsibility of this compliance to the ship, okay, is with the flag state. So the flag state has to make sure that ship is having all the necessary infrastructure. Okay, flag state is having the responsibility. Okay, so the compliance is the responsibility of the flag state. The flag state will conduct audit or initial survey that all the requirements as per the MLC is actually fitted on board, or the owner is actually having all the methods or all the measures, all the sources to provide for the seafarers well-being and everything is there. That flag state will make sure that everything is complied on board the ship. Then only the flag state will issue an MLC certificate, maritime labor certificate. Okay, so the next thing is the flag state has already made sure that it is everything is there on the ship, and after issuing the certificate the ship has sailed out. And how to make sure that the ship's crew or the ship's management or the higher authority is actually following this MLC on board. That means not violating the rest of us, not asking the crew to work more than 14 hours a day, and no providing good food, recreation, and all those things. How to make sure that this is being followed? So this is the job of port state. Okay, PSC. So what the PSC will do? PSC has the power to make sure that all these things is followed, and check board on board ship, and may check all the facilities, and ask random question to all the seafarers, and if they have any complaints regarding MLC and all those things, the seafarers has the PSC will come to know, and PSC will make sure that that thing has been followed. So if the ship is visiting any port, the PSC come to know that there is a MLC violation. The PSC even has the authority to find the ship until and this MLC is properly followed. Okay, and so how the PSC will know that is something is gone wrong and not following the MLC? So there must be a complaint procedure. Okay, so the company must say, company must set up a procedure, so the seafarers will raise a complaint and everything, and it must be addressed by the ship's management team immediately. Okay, and must be sorted out. If that is not working, that he can directly contact the higher authority like PSC. Okay, and that's all. Okay, this is all about title, all the titles of MLC. Now, next thing is Declaration of Maritime Labor Compliance. Okay, so after the ship construction has been completed, the ship must be declared with it is been for it is in compliance with the maritime labor conventions. Okay, so how it is declared, or who is it declared? Okay, so this declaration is mainly two parts, part 1 and part 2. Okay, so the flag state will, okay, the flag state will declare the ship is in compliance with maritime labor convention. Okay, so the flag state will conduct its own inspection, audits and everything, and make sure that all the necessary requirements are followed as per MLC convention, and issue a certificate. Okay, sorry, and sorry, not certificate, uh, and issue a declaration, that is called Declaration of Maritime Labor Compliance 1. Okay, or simply we call as DMLC 1. So once the flag state is satisfied with the ship's condition, and it will declare that I am satisfied, so I am giving a declaration that the ship is as per maritime labor compliance, that is called DMLC part 1. Okay, so this, after getting this, okay, there is one more thing called part 2. This one is actually for ship owner. Okay, what the ship owner will do, he will actually download a form for DMLC 1, and he'll check all the details, which are all the regulation, all the necessary requirements to be followed. So he will make sure that everything is fitted on board, and he will finally say, I have put everything on board as per the MLC, and he will give it in a writing. That writing is called Declaration of Maritime Labor Compliance 2. So DMLC 2. So once the flag state has issued DMLC, and the ship owner has given DMLC 2, so and after doing all the survey, and once the flag state is certified, so the once then the flag state will give maritime labor certificate. Okay, this maritime labor certificate, okay, is issued by flag state via inspection. Okay, okay, that's all. That's all about. Okay. Now let's talk about the duties on board as a master as per the MLC. Okay. So the duty of master is to make sure that seafarer is aware of his right. So actually the master must explain to seafarer Okay, your rights are right like this. You must get minimum this much of rest hours. You must get minimum this much of hours of working period, and all those things. The seafarers must know. Okay, so rights of seafarer. Okay, and whenever any PSC inspector or somebody comes, the seafarer must be able to explain this to say PSC inspector when the PSC inspector is asked. Okay, and after when the seafarer is joining after signing all the relevant documents with master, then the master must give one of the agreement copy or the employment agreement copy to the seafarers. That seafarer must possess one of that employment agreement copy. Okay, and whenever any PSC comes and asks, he must show that to the PSC. Okay, so it is copy of his contract with crew, right? And the very important thing, the age limitation for working on board during night time. Okay, nighttime nighttime age age requirement or regulation, this must be followed strictly. Okay, and another thing is inside the accommodation in all the ships, the engine room will be exactly below the accommodation. So because of the machinery vibration and the noises, most of the noise and vibration will transfer towards the accommodation structure. So it will be very difficult for the crew to take rest. So the noise level and the vibration of the accommodation space must be properly checked. Okay, it must be within the allowable limit or range. So chief engineer is supposed to do this checking. So to make sure that chief engineer is checking vibration and acoustic acoustic level. Okay, so this acoustic level and vibration level, the reading, how much would be the value that you will get from noise code. Okay, so IMA has published a code of noise levels on board ship, that noise code. So it has given the values of noise allowed inside the accommodation. Okay, so that is a very big list, but I will explain just like this. Accommodation spaces, allowed noise level is 60 decibel. Okay, 60 decibel, it is accommodation space inside cabin. Okay, and mess rooms and all the recreation rooms, 65, means people gather together and they will talk each other and they laugh. So little more volume will be there. So up to 65 decibels is expected. So that much is allowed. Okay, mess room and TV rooms, game rooms. Okay, and open recreation area means external areas where crew will go gather and have some fun. There allowed is 75 decibel. So in many ships which I have sailed, and the people will be watching movies during the night time, and these TVs are fitted with speakers having very loud volume, that they put maximum volume, and they are not bothered about, sometimes, not always, sometimes, and some crew are not bothered about the people sleeping nearby adjacent cabins. So if you have experienced any of these things in future, if you experience any of these things in future, you can go and call them and tell them 65 decibel is the sound limit, and you should reduce your TV volume so that only you can hear, so don't disturb others. Okay, if you still they are not reducing, you can complain to the master. Okay, so the master must make sure that this noise level is followed on board. Okay, and the second thing is the another thing is, ensure the recreation equipments in good condition. Okay, TV, gym, okay, game game in good condition. Okay, other one is, keep always have people happy, and listen to the complaints and find solution. Okay, this is all about MLC. Okay, so by this method, companies already have a procedure. Okay, try to stick with this procedure and solve everything. And these are the duties of master on board as per MLC. Okay, thanks for watching this video. Hope this video was helpful. It was a bit longer, 41 minutes, but I hope it will be useful for you. Thank you.